So, ladies and gentlemen, the first keynote speaker, how Qatar will shape the future. I invite on this stage Chief Officer Cargo, Qatar Airways, Mr. Guillaume Halleux. The stage is yours.
Bonjour, good morning. My name is Guillaume. I head the cargo division of Qatar Airways. Qatar Airways Cargo being the largest cargo carrier in the world by the IATA standards, FTKs. Before I start, can I ask who in the audience is from the cargo industry? Okay, so we have a number of people who are not from the cargo industry, and I will therefore make it more educational. And I'll start with this statement. I know no little boy or little girl who dreams to start a career in air cargo. No one dreams of air cargo to begin with. They want to be firefighter, they want to be nurse, teacher. I wanted to be a vet, and I end up transporting animals, but I don't heal them. Pretty much all of us fell into air cargo by coincidence. But our industry matters. Nobody knows. We are in your daily life pretty much everywhere. The phone that you have bought or you're going to buy for Christmas was transported by air cargo. The pineapple that you have eaten this morning was transported by air freight, and so on and so forth. The world realized how air freight was important when about 10 years ago we had that Iceland volcanic ashes story, right? And that's where everybody freaked out because there was no cherry anymore. It was in the winter. There was no cherries anymore, no green beans from Kenya. There was no fresh oysters in Hong Kong coming from France, and so on and so forth. So this is an industry that not many people know, yet we are everywhere. And our industry, I dare to say, is retarded. We are very old-fashioned. I'm not that old, I'm 45, I started 20 years ago. I see some of my ex-colleagues here in the room. And we talked when I started, there was no email, there was no PC. We started with Telex machines. And because you paid by the digit, then the whole industry communicated with codes designed to minimize the number of digits that were sent. NN meant required or requested. UU meant no go, refused, reject, no more, negative. KK meant okay. Why KK and not okay? I still don't get it. And then emails came in. Excel came in to the industry, meaning to the shippers, to the forwarders, to the airlines. And all of a sudden, our staff who used to maximize pallets of cargo by looking at lists of pieces with dimensions. One piece, 20 by 32 by 48. 5 pieces, 32 by blah, 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 blah. And those people could literally, with color pen, build up a pallet in the most optimal way. That knowledge is no longer needed. That knowledge is now transferred to technology. But this is pretty much it. We are still retarded. We do business today the same way we did 20 years ago. Emails have replaced telexes. Now we print in color. That's pretty much it. So what we called the future 20 years ago, I still call it the future. That's how ironic the situation is when the rest of the world has really moved on. Who remembers those tickets that you used to buy from the travel agent, with the carbon copies? This is a thing of the past, right? Well, not in cargo. We have e-airway bill, but most of our business is still paper-based. And every time a flight lands here in Liege, I can tell you that, Johan, we have a big pouch. On top of the actual cargo, we have a pouch of documents, because all the documents follow paper-based to destination. So when we lose them, of course, it's a problem. And we do lose them. So that industry took forever to move and has not yet moved much. I see two reasons for that. The first one, it is an extremely fragmented industry. Airlines are part of the supply chain. Airports are part of the supply chain. It takes up to 20 parties to move one piece of cargo from China to Amsterdam. Up to 20 different organizations, not talking people. That fragmentation makes it very difficult for the industry to actually coordinate a digital revolution. And what I'm very pleased to see is that there is now a momentum like we never had before. For years, the industry relied on IATA. IATA is the International Association for Air Transportation or something like that. And IATA was supposed to coordinate that movement. It just never happened. But now you see players emerging pretty much everywhere with solutions. I know that Moritz and Manel will talk later today on their marketplace solution. Not any more promising, they are now a fact. So the momentum is there. And when Luc asked me to join the effort of Liege Airport to organize this event, it was obviously to me a natural thing to do. As the largest carrier in the world, we want to lead by example as well. It doesn't mean we are the most advanced. We're just the bigger, that's it. We're not the most advanced yet, but we have that ambition. So a lot of resistance, it took a lot of time, but now things are finally happening. And I do believe that there's no way back. There is now no way back. Technology has become widely available in many sectors. So what you see in air cargo now, from an airline perspective, is dynamic pricing, the same way you have it on the passenger side. If you want to book the 5 p.m. flight versus the 7 p.m. flight, the price might be different. If you book from a mobile phone or from a computer, the price might be different. If you ask the website 5 times for the same routing, the price might increase little by little because they think you really want it. Dynamic pricing is definitely coming. Predictive analytics. We are in a world in cargo that is extremely fragmented. So an airport can only work based on forecast and prediction that we airline give them. But our own forecast and prediction come from the freight forwarders. And their own forecast and prediction come from the shippers. And in the middle of the process, there's a lot of elements that could actually delay, cancel our forecast. Now, algorithms help us better forecast. So I know now, from a statistical perspective, much better than before, that the cargo that Johan will give to me next Friday, today is what, Thursday, right? So tomorrow, there's probably 70% chance that his booking that is 1 ton will actually turn out to be 600 kilos only. Because statistically, that's what we have observed. We could do that manually, but with large volumes, it's just impossible. Technology is helping us there. Again, it's in place, it does exist today. Another example, track and trace. So our cargo moves on containers. The containers you see when you fly through the window of the aircraft, you think your luggage is in there. Yes, you're right. Some containers have your luggage in there, but the majority of those containers actually contain cargo. And those containers represent a lot of value. They're expensive, and we send them all across the world. So knowing where they are is crucial to all airlines. Now, GPS-based, low Bluetooth energy tracking devices help us do that much better than before. Again, it is there. It does exist. It's the beginning, but it does exist. Another example would be scanners. How do we know the exact dimension of cargo? The good old way with a tape measure, it takes forever, human errors, manual transcript. Scanning technology today help us with scanners located on the ceiling of every warehouse. Every time a piece of cargo goes through, we know exactly the dimension of it. Better planning, better profitability for the airline because you pay for the actual usage of the space. Another example. That technology today only moves on because it becomes affordable. The only reason why the momentum today is really picking up is because this is now something that organizations can afford. For quite some time, it was very complicated, not fully reliable, and very expensive. As a network operator, I have assets in 160 cities in the world. So for me to operate in 160 places, countries in the world, is extremely complicated. So back to my scanner example, what we are now studying is, instead of having the scanners in the warehouses, having the scanners in the main frame of the door of the freighters, so that every time cargo is loaded, then the dimensions are measured. By doing that, we go against the opacity of the market, we go against the fragmentation of the market, and that forces the whole industry to be more transparent. And my next point is the human factor, because that transparency is being pushed back by a lot of players in the market because it goes against the business model of the past. And my prediction is that only the freight forwarders who add true value to their shippers will survive the digital transformation. The old model doesn't work anymore. Telling stories because your own interest is not the interest of your shipper will no longer work. Information will become increasingly available. Everybody talks about blockchain. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear about blockchain today and tomorrow. But what blockchain brings is basically shippers having access to a lot of information that was not available to them before. Airlines having access to a lot of information that was also not available to them before. So the resistance will be there. And the risk is that we become machines. At the end of the day, air cargo is a commodity. Very difficult to add value. As a passenger, when you choose your airline, you also choose, price is one criteria, you also choose this or that airline because the food is better, because the seat is better, because they have TV, because the blah, blah, blah. In cargo, there are very limited differentiators. Not only for airlines, also for forwarders, also for ground handlers, also for airports. So Luc, Liege is one of our top hubs in Europe. But what is the difference between Liege, Vatry, Maastricht? I know, Maastricht is not a good topic right now. Luxembourg, did I mention? Vatry, all those cargo hubs. Runway is the same, more or less. Infrastructures are there, otherwise they would not be in business. Curfew could be a differentiator in that specific example. But the big differentiator are the people. We like to do business with people we get along with. We like to do business with people who understand us and who want to do business with us. We don't like to do business with people who want to rip us off as soon as they have one opportunity. And that does happen. So during the course of these 2 days, we will announce that Qatar Airways is going to renew a strategic partnership with Liege Airport. And what is driving that is the people factor. From an airline perspective and from a cargo perspective, how do I make a difference to my customers? I operate passenger aircraft the same as everybody else. There are only 2 manufacturers in the world, so pretty much you've all flown on the same aircraft types in the past. Right now, 777, A350 from Airbus, 787 are the most popular for long haul. So this is not where your aircraft that you make a difference. Freighters, same story. Boeing 777, Boeing 747 or Airbus A330, that's pretty much it. You don't make a difference. My competition operates the same aircraft. Schedule. Cargo is a lot less sensitive to schedule than passenger. You don't want to get up at 4 to catch a 6 a.m. flight, but for cargo, it doesn't matter. 2 a.m. departure, no big difference. This is not how you make your difference. Transit time. Cargo also a little bit less sensitive than the passenger business to transit time. And more or less every decent carrier in the marketplace provides similar transit times. What else? Your products. Okay, we all have the same. We carry general cargo, we carry perishable, we carry pharmaceutical, and we carry live animals. I'm talking of the main players in the market. The only way you make your difference is with your people. It's how customer-centric you are organized. It's how you behave. It's your flexibility, your agility. It's how strongly you listen to the voice of your customer instead of forcing your own internal policies to your customer. And that, for me, for Qatar Airways, is the biggest risk. If we lose that, we lose our edge. We have become the biggest because of that. And I will make sure that we will not end up at some point in a world where our customers interact with us through APIs only and we lose the human touch. Because then, at that moment, we would have become a true commodity. This is the risk I see, totally manageable because the page is blank and it's for us to write it. And what we want to write is the story of an industry that is not retarded anymore, an industry that is somehow a bit more glamorous than people might think. My hands are clean, even though I push cargo every day, in order for one day that a little boy or a little girl someplace will say, I want to work in air freight. Thank you.